So I'm soaring today. I'm glowing. I'm on cloud nine. Behind me is my classic car that I just got back from the shop. And I'm not so happy that it's back because it's not finished. It doesn't run. But I'm happy that I'm done with that shop because the business end of things wasn't working out. It wasn't going well. And I basically had to fire them. So let me show you the car real quick before we get into the story. So it's a Chevy Nova, and I got this thing like 3 years ago. And let me open the hood up. There's the engine. It is supercharged. It's gonna be awesome. It's not done yet. It's got a ways to go, but it did get the paint, which was a huge battle to get it painted. It's like there's no one that wants to paint classic cars anymore. And here's the inside. So we got steering wheel and gauges and dash, but it doesn't have seats in. So the reason I'm so happy is because this car had been at a shop for almost 3 years. And as a former nice guy, that's a lot of problem we have is we give people way too many chances. And we're scared to break off relationships, partnerships, business agreements, whatever it may be. We really shy away from that. And the second part of the video is going to be how we shy away from confrontation, if you want to call that, hard negotiations, confrontational deal type stuff, or just standing up for ourselves in general. So the shop had been working on this since, I'm not kidding you, they had it since June of 2022. So we're almost to June of 2025 and they couldn't get it finished for whatever reasons. Excuses galore. And I just went along with it because, hey, it's a pretty good shop. They do good work, but they don't work often. And they weren't prioritizing my car. And, a lot of different things. The business was sold. And so they finally got work done over the last 6 months. But then we ran into some personality problems. Now I'm butting heads with one of the managers. There's 3 partners of this place, and one of the guys comes in later than the original 2 partners, and this guy's a been there, done that, know-it-all. He's the man. And he seemed all right off the bat because he was getting stuff done. But then we start butting heads. He has a problem with the way I want the car built. And so he didn't like that I'm supercharging the car. He thinks it's going to be too much power for an old car like this that doesn't have a full chassis and or roll cage. He thinks the engine isn't going to handle the supercharger. All these different things. We butt heads. And I know what I've selected here. I've had years. And everything I'm doing here is pretty normal stuff. We butted heads 5 months ago, but he apologized and agreed that it's my build, so whatever. They brought it up again, and between that and them raising rates on me and just the personality aspect of it, I didn't want to work with these people anymore. So after giving them so many chances, I finally worked up the nerve to just pull the car back, and there's different guys that can work on it, and they're even closer than this other shop was, so it's going to be great. Now here's where it gets real interesting. I still owed them like $6,500 from the last few invoices. And this is very important. When it's your money makes you the man. When you owe someone money, gives you the power and the leverage. I'm not saying to be bad about paying people their money. When you owe it to them, you should always do that. But it should be when everything's done right and the job's completely finished to your satisfaction. So I made sure not to pay them as these recent issues came up. And that really worked out to my favor because I had gone over my invoices and about 6 months ago, they switched from billing on a quarter hour basis. So if they did 3.5 hours of work, you pay for 3.5 hours of work. If they did 4 3/4, you're paying 4.75 times the hourly rate. And it would be broken down in line items of what they did. Well, like 6 months ago, they switched to just straight hours. Everything was on a rounded hour. And I realized that, hey, you guys have been rounding up. So I made the decision yesterday or the day before to pull the car and just get it home. That was decision 1. And it was a long time coming. Then decision 2 was, I still owe them money. Did they deserve all this money? Or do I have some, am I entitled to something back? Well, when I found that invoice problem, I go, you know what? I got to ask for something here, because that looks like they've been rounding up the hours on me to get more money off of me. They've raised rates on me 3 times already, so I know money's important. They told me 6 months ago that the business wasn't doing it. That was a huge red flag, but I stayed on. So now I know money is an issue. It looks like they've been rounding. So being a nice guy, it goes, former nice guy, recovering nice guy, it goes, I just want to get the car back so I can move on and find a better mechanic or someone that works for me. And so there's always that thought where you're like, let's just get it and call it good and bring the car home. And you know what? That's enough. And I'll pay them because they did do the work. And that's what the nice guy's always thinking. Hey, let's just settle it and be done and move on and not have any stress. But I remembered, no, it's worth trying. Even if it doesn't work, at least you tried, and it was free to try. And so I did everything right. I didn't go talk to a bunch of different people and get a bunch of different opinions. I talked to one person. He thought I'm on the right track. He said, that's a good idea. So I went in there and I said, hey, you guys changed the way you're billing me. I need money for that. And I need this bill cut in half. Actually, I asked for more. I used a technique called anchoring. So the bill was $6,500 and I said I need $5,000 off. Start high. And he was like, oh, and he tried to spin a tale about, well, it was more efficient to not do the quarter hour thing and go just the whole hours. And we weren't rounding. And I was like, I don't know what you were doing. And I feel like I've been charged the wrong amount and you have rounded and skimmed on me. So here's what I need. There was no questions. It wasn't, why were you doing this? It was, you did do this. And here's to make it right. It was, I need $5,000 off this. And so the partner there that I was talking to, he kind of, he knew he was caught. He didn't show heavy resistance. He knew he was caught. And at the moment he reacted, I go, I've got this. So he says, 5,000 is kind of a lot. Oh, I don't know. And, I let it sit there. You say something, you let it sit. You don't just keep talking because you're nervous or whatever. So, hey, I need $5,000 off this. If you can handle that awkward pause, it wasn't even awkward in this moment because I didn't even care. But if you can handle what sometimes is an awkward pause, you're going to win. Generally in these negotiations, whoever has the stronger nervous system and a little more testosterone and just doesn't care in general wins. So I threw out the 5,000. He's talking and and I go, listen, let's just settle this today and get me on the road and get out of here. Make it 3,000. Take 3,000 off this bill that's right here for 6,500. Take it 3,000 off. I'll write a check and we'll get out of here. Okay, we got to call my partner. Calls the partner. I tell the story. Checks out. I won. I got the 3,000 off. So that's why I'm glowing, because it would have been so easy to just say, I just got to get the car back and we'll call it good. And they're entitled to the money. I could have gone for more money even if I really wanted to play hardball, but you could consider that being a nice guy, just the 3,000. I could have been entitled to more because I've spent like a lot of money with this, getting this car fixed up, which is a whole different thing. There's so much I've learned doing this car, because when I got it, it was just absolute junk. So I've learned a lot there, but I'll leave that for other videos. So I'm just soaring, glowing. I went into a tough deal. My anxiety, it was there, not like that bad, but it was more that feeling you get in the chest where you're just like on edge, you don't know what's going to happen. You're going into this. The last thing I'm going to end on with this is very important for people like us to remember, everybody really, it's never as bad as you think it is. Whatever the case may be. When I went to the doctor because my ankle was hurting, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, When I went in to go in this deal, all different thoughts are going, oh, what if they just get pissed off? What if they don't want to, even give me my car back? What if this? What if that? You run these scenarios. It's never as bad as you think it is. So I'm going to cut it off there. Thanks. See you next time.